News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
Good afternoon. It's now 4:05, and with your local headlines, I'm Will Fiore. We begin KVNU's For the People show. Well, Mount Logan Middle School social studies teacher Ryan Mueller is among 8 Utah educators honored with the inaugural Founders 5 Excellence in Civic Education Award. The award recognizes teachers who excel in teaching American history, constitutional principles, and civic responsibility. Now, nominations were submitted statewide by administrators, parents, and community members. Now, Mueller, a veteran educator with over 15 years of experience, was praised for guiding middle school students through primary source documents. Now, he previously earned the 2022 Utah History Teacher of the Year Award from the Gilder Lehrman Institute of American History. Now, the awards were presented during the nonprofit organization's Civic Education Summit that was held earlier this year. Well, in other news, Lake Powell dropped to its record lowest elevation at 3,519 feet on Saturday, surpassing its previous historic low that was set back in April of 2023. Now, the decline follows a record low at Lake Mead earlier this month. Now, combined water storage across both reservoirs has fallen to levels that haven't been seen since 1957, prior to Lake Powell being constructed. Now, experts attribute the decline to rising temperatures, dry soil absorption, and also reduced snowpack runoff, noting that even average precipitation yields have been lower for bringing water into both lakes. Now, Lake Powell and Lake Mead supply Colorado water to 7 western states, native tribes, and Mexico. Agriculture consumes about 70% of the basin's water, with 55% being dedicated to livestock feed like alfalfa. And that's leading scientists to suggest higher water crops may face mandatory reductions. Now, after 7 basin states failed to reach a consensus on voluntary reductions earlier this year, the Bureau of Reclamation announced that it would be releasing mandatory post-2026 water allocation cuts soon. And finally, Tyson Foods has announced the permanent closure of its Eagle Mountain meat processing facility, eliminating 723 Utah jobs amid a historic national cattle shortage. Now, the decision comes just 5 days after the company built after the company built the $300 million beef and pork plant, which opened in 2021 with the support of state tax incentives. Now, the facility had generated approximately $44 million in annual local payroll. Now, the closure is part of a broader corporate restructuring driven by a 75-year low in U.S. cattle herds. It's the smallest inventory that's been recorded since 1951. Now, in addition to closing the Eagle Mountain site here in Utah, Tyson is also shutting down a facility in Illinois and seeking a buyer for its Washington location. Now, Tyson says it plans to consolidate its beef business around 3 core facilities located in Nebraska, Kansas, and also Texas. Well, temperatures staying in the low 90s for our high today, and it looks like it's going to remain mostly clear through the rest of the afternoon and into tonight. As overnight tonight, we'll see temperatures drop into the low 60s. Tomorrow, a few clouds could bring a small chance of some isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon. As temperatures Tuesday expected to be right around 88. Then we'll get back into the low 90s on Wednesday. By the end of the week, temperatures around the mid 90s. And weather this hour brought to you by Logan Extermination. If you're noticing weeds are popping up everywhere, landscape beds, rock, even in your driveway, good news is Logan Extermination has you covered with their Kills All service. It starts at just $75. Give Logan Extermination a call today at 752-8450. And KVNU News Time is now 4:09. I'll have another check of local news coming up at the bottom of the hour. On the way next, it's Jason Williams and KVNU's For the People show coming up.
A rule of thumb is if your air ducts look dirty, they probably are. Dirty ducts should be cleaned by a certified professional like John Hansen of the Duct Hunter. In a typical 6-room home, up to 40 pounds of dust, contaminants, and air pollutants are created annually, and this builds up in the ductwork. Dirty ducts may be contributing to large health issues that can cause serious problems with people with respiratory health conditions, autoimmune disorders, or allergies. Don't risk it. Give the Duct Hunter a call, 770-4813, to clean out the dirty ducts in your home.
The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs, recognizing first responders and other deserving individuals in our community. Friday mornings at 8:30 on News Talk KVNU.
This is Chris White, local manager at Valley Recycling. Every day at our clean and friendly yard, we take in your recyclables and pay you cash. We pay for aluminum cans and other metals. We take your old cars, appliances, copper, brass, aluminum, and steel. Just drive in, drop it off, and get paid. And if you need help cleaning up your recyclables for commercial, industrial, or on the farm, we can help with our fleet of trucks and containers, offering the best pricing for all your metal recycling. Valley Recycling at 145 North, 10th West in Logan.
This is Jordan with Primrose Home Care and Hospice. When it comes to home care, it's important for you to know you do have a choice. If you or a loved one is in need of home care services, remember Primrose Home Care and Hospice believes in treating the patient, not the problem. We work directly with you and your doctor to create a health plan that's catered to your needs. Our team is devoted to providing options in the freedom and safety of your own home. Call for a free home safety evaluation, 787-1369, and visit primrosecare.com. Primrose Home Care and Hospice. We're your home team.
KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com, and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. Kicking off another week here of For the People with 95 degrees. We're back to it. 95 degrees here at the Radio Ranch at 4:12 in the afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We have had a big weekend in the news. We'll get to as much of that as we can here as we start the show. We have a really, really cool profile, if you will, of, I think, one of the most unique agrarian programs in the West that most people have heard of, but a profile kind of tying this to a lot of things that we talk about or think about when it comes to the American West, which is change, the urbanization of areas, the loss of agricultural land, and also even, Western culture that's ingrained in places like Utah, Wyoming, of course, Montana, even parts of Nevada and Arizona. And it's a way of life that is harder and harder for people to make a living at. And there are some folks hoping to change that. So we'll spotlight an apprenticeship program that is actually hoping to invite young Americans into an entire lifestyle that can still make money, can still be a career. But just a really unique program. We'll talk about that later. That's linked on our Facebook page if you'd like to see some of the photos and read some of the details in the Deseret News story about this today. So there's also just a quick mention of this. This was last summer. This was one of the most unforgettable experiences I've ever had. And it was simply because I'd followed the news, but timing-wise, the procession for the lost officers killed in the line of duty on August 17th, 2025, during a domestic incident in Tremonton. The procession for the memorial services was coming from Tremonton-Garland through Valley View Highway and here into Cache Valley. And it happened to be just as we wrapped up For the People that day. I said my last few words on air. We went outside, a few of us here at the station from the newsroom and production staff. We went outside and happened to be there on the street as the procession came through. And then I was able to actually follow it up to the mortuary where the memorial was happening and get to see in person for the first time the very solemn ceremony that takes place, including, I think, one of the most moving things I've seen, what is referred to as the wall. And this is done out of respect for the fallen officers, but the officers on hand there to pay their respects form a wall and block from the public view the moving of the casket from the hearse into the memorial hall. And it was the perfection of, from where their feet were placed to how quickly they moved into position to form this wall. I don't know. It was just a really moving thing. And yeah, it's all ceremony, but it's a way to pay respects. This, of course, today marks the 1-year anniversary of the loss of Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada. And there is Will Feelwright has a write-up at CacheValleyDaily.com kind of providing a bit of an update on this. We have a tendency, these things get a lot of attention, and then because of what I refer to as the attention economy that social media and cable news specialize in driving, things kind of quickly get shoved to the back, and then eventually, when a year passes, it's almost a forgotten thing. So Will has some statements that were released on social media today, collected in this story at CacheValleyDaily.com. But the Tremonton-Garland Police Department, in a memorial statement published today, said they're reflecting on the ongoing grief within the agency, and they'd like to express gratitude for the continued support of the local community over the past year. And the police department statement said a year has passed, but their absence is still felt every day in our building, in our patrol cars, in the stories we tell, and in the moments we still expect them to walk through the door. Department officials detailed, both officers, again, as devoted husbands, fathers, friends in the community, and emphasized their dedicated service and contributions, and, of course, the ultimate sacrifice in the end that they said helped to build up the community beyond the tragedy of their deaths. And one of the, I think, most touching things that happened throughout all of this was this, of course, took place, the event where the two officers were killed took place at a residence, and that residence, of course, one individual was charged with the crimes. In fact, Ryan Michael Bate, 33-year-old man, faces the death penalty on 19 counts, including 2 capital counts of aggravated murder. The gunfire also injured Box Elder County Sheriff's Deputy Mike Allred and his police canine Azula. Both recovered, and the community. So there were family members left in this home. One individual in the home was responsible for this heinous act, but the rest of the family was still in the home. And the next morning, of course, in the days after the incident, the scene was released as a crime scene investigation scene. And the front lawn, I've seen photos, the front lawn of the home was just dug up from some of the first responders' vehicles that they'd driven a very heavy armored vehicle up onto the lawn to provide cover for the officers as they captured Bate. And so this front lawn was just trashed. And, of course, this family, still living in this home, knowing, this is their front yard is where all of this took place. And the community, of course, rallying around the fallen officers and their memory and their service. And in the middle of all this, the neighborhood and the whole community in Garland and Tremonton got together and fixed their front yard for them. And I thought that was the not only just a show of kindness and caring for this family, who, the family members of Bate who were not responsible for what Bate did, but it was the ultimate in kind of a healing bookend to all of this. It was the rest of the community basically saying to this family, look, you're still part of this community. You did not do this. A man in your family did, but you did not, and they fixed the yard, and as a way to kind of make sure that family knew, hey, we're still with you. And I don't know, that brought tears to my eyes when I read that news story that day. So this touched so many people, and of course the procession that came all the way through the state along the Wasatch Front into Tremonton-Garland, and then over the hill here into Cache Valley, and then literally right up Main Street, Logan, and making a left turn there towards the Allen Hall Mortuary. I have, even during the parades, I have never seen so many people lining the street. It was something to see. In fact, there's still video on our Facebook page, KVN News for the People on Facebook. I should re-up that on our Instagram page so people can see it there as well. I'll work on that. But, just marking the anniversary here. Again, Will Feelwright has a great write-up at CacheValleyDaily.com. Some additional details since then, of course, that have come out. According to police interviews and phone records presented during a preliminary hearing in June of this year, the Ryan Michael Bate, of course, again facing the death penalty on 19 counts, including 2 capital counts of aggravated murder. And according to information presented at that preliminary hearing back in June of this year, Bates' wife reported he assaulted her in front of their 3 children at the home that evening and threatened to kill her if she called 911. And audio recordings captured Bate warning police as they arrived to the residence that evening that he would, quote, send them away in caskets. And Sorensen, of course, arrived first, and Sergeant Lee Sorensen, and Bate opened fire on the vehicle and shot the sergeant just as he stepped out to assist Bates' wife, who was running from the home. And Estrada arrived just moments later and he ran to help Sergeant Lee Sorensen, who was on the ground, and he was shot and killed. And Deputy Allred in a sheriff's department vehicle was fired upon as he pulled up and was parking. Bullet fragments again injured him and his canine police dog in the vehicle with him. An in-person hearing is scheduled for September 10th for Bate, and the judge will deliver his ruling on whether Bate will be bound over for trial. So that's September 10th on that, some additional details. But again, today marks the 1-year anniversary of the loss of Sergeant Lee Sorensen and Officer Eric Estrada, both killed in the line of duty August 17th of 2025. And in a memorial statement released today, the Tremonton-Garland Police Department again said, a year has passed, but their absence is still felt every day. You can read the story at CacheValleyDaily.com. I've linked to it on our Facebook page as well. Tremonton-Garland Police mark 1 year since line-of-duty deaths of 2 officers. And we'll be back with more of For the People right after this.
This is Lee. For years, Cache Valley has trusted Lee's Plumbing to take care of your plumbing needs. And now we're teaming up with Any Hour Services to provide even more support to Cache Valley homeowners. Mike?
Thanks, Lee. I'm Mike Wilson from Any Hour Services. We're excited to team up with Lee's Plumbing, giving homeowners one team to call for plumbing, drains, heating, cooling, and electrical.
Same trusted service, more ways to help around your home. Lee's Plumbing
and Any Hour Services.
Better together. Schedule your service today.
We're here with Chuck, founder of Dollar Loan Center. Chuck, what happens if someone applied before and was denied?
Craig, I love this question, and the answer is simple. If you were denied in the past and still looking for a loan, before you go somewhere else and pay way too much, give us another shot. Everyone's situation changes. You may have a cosigner, a new job, a raise, who knows, but we're going to try to help.
I'm telling you, it seems like my credit score goes up and down each month.
Great point. We don't use a traditional credit score at the DLC, and you don't need great credit or collateral. We can also help you consolidate those expensive payday and title loans because we lend way more and charge way less.
Dollar Loan Center loves Logan and Ogden and lends up to $5,000 in minutes. Stop by a nearby location, apply over the phone or online at don'tbebroke.com.
License by the Utah Department of Financial Institutions, While you're making memories this summer, on the lake, in the mountains, or around the fire pit, Adams Wealth Advisors is here to help you plan for days to come. Adams Wealth Advisors loves being your trusted neighbor and believes that smart financial planning is the key to a life well lived. Whether you're nearing retirement or just getting started, let Adams Wealth Advisors build a plan that gives you peace of mind today and tomorrow. Google Adams Wealth Advisors for a free consultation today. Local roots, lifelong guidance.
Tuesday edition, Clay and Buck, we will break down the Florida primary as we basically are completing the primary season. I know there are still some Northeasterners with primaries, but big decisions to be made in Florida, and we will break it all down for you. Plus, the latest on Iran and more. You won't want to miss it. Tuesday edition, Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM and 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Just got off the phone with some local fire officials. We're going to be talking about this week. A phone call during the break there we still haven't nailed down a date for this, but there's been a lot. In fact, I was yesterday, I was with family in Morgan, and they were doing the backburn stuff on the ridge above Morgan for the Rocky Canyon fire, they're calling it. This is still burning pretty aggressively in some of those little canyons above Hennifer, but you could actually see the smoke, and then as the sun went down, you could see the glow on the ridge there in Morgan as firefighters did a backburning procedure, which is basically burning out the fuel when weather conditions are friendly, so that to avoid the risk of the fire if winds pick up and change direction, burning up over the ridge, and then them having to move all of the rescue operation and firefighting effort around on the highway around the big mountain there into Morgan to try and save Morgan, as they've just finished doing for Hennifer. It's the closest I've been this year, or even in recent years, to firefighting efforts, but it kind of reminds you that these are more than just news stories. Because, of course, having family there in the area, I'm thinking of their homes, I'm thinking of all their animals and livestock, their pets, but also their lives that they've built, a couple of generations now for these particular family members in this area. And it personalizes what for a lot of us can just be a news story. Something to keep in mind. And along those lines, we did have a fire that potentially could have been catastrophic here in Cache Valley a few weeks ago, the Canyon Road fire. The location of the fire, they were able to get this under control pretty quickly, and hats off to them for that. But it did lead to some precautionary evacuations of a lot of people, primarily in the island area. And it did also lead to, I think Logan City Mayor Mark Anderson was the first I've seen to mention it, but it led to some discussion about preparedness. And you may have seen this online, these words being used. And if you use, like the wildfire tracking apps like Watch Duty, you'll see the phrase, the words, ready, set, and go, when it comes to wildfires and specifically evacuations. But it's a marketing attempt, basically, to make it easy for people to absorb and understand three really, really critical things, which is in the ready category, you have simple things you can do in the event of an evacuation. You can be prepared. You can have, important legal documents, birth certificates, very irreplaceable treasured items. You can have at very least a mental list of all the things like that you would need to get. So you're not trying to think of it last minute. At best, you actually have them collected in a to-go bag of sorts, something you can grab and run. And then also have a plan for, if you've got pets in the home, cats or dogs, birds, things like that. Livestock, if you have, pet chickens, or an actual mini ranch or something like that. What are you going to do? What's your plan? And so that's the ready category. Set category is when fire officials are saying evacuation is likely. We haven't announced it yet. We haven't started evacuating yet, but it is likely. And that is when you get all this stuff together, maybe actually move things to the car. And have everything in order so that if the evacuation order comes, you can just boogie. And then go, the go part of Ready, Set, Go is, okay, we're evacuating. You begin the process. But a story that I was told yesterday to kind of drive home why we're going to be talking about this in the future with local fire officials. The first reason is Logan City Mayor Mark Anderson, who was he and his family were evacuated themselves from the Canyon Road fire incident overnight that night, which was a Friday night into Saturday. And he said, I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, what we learned that we could do a lot more to be more prepared. Not the firefighters and their firefighting efforts. Like I said, they were on top of it. Stop that this could have jumped and gone up the canyon so easily, and just it would still be burning now if it had gone up the canyon, or even jumped to those foothills and headed south or north along the foothills. A lot of homes would have been lost. And I don't know if you've looked at our foothills. They're a tinderbox, and it's going to probably stay that way until October at least. So this could have been catastrophic. They got on top of it. Firefighting efforts were just, immense, and they got control of it relatively quickly. The part where I've heard several people now, elected officials and fire officials, say they noticed some gaps and some flaws was in the preparedness side, that maybe people aren't as prepared as because let's be honest, evacuations aren't common here in Cache Valley. In fact, there have been more evacuations along the Wasatch Back over the last 10 years than there have ever been here in Cache Valley. And so it's not something we think about, and we might need to change that. Fires are probably still going to be more rare here than most other places, but having a plan is probably a good idea. So we're going to be talking with local fire officials about that. And I have an example here for you. I'll bring this up again during the conversation because I'm going to be telling this story over and over and over. There was a family in Hennifer. I've got permission to tell this story. So a family in Hennifer, because of their location, they decided, okay, we're not going to evacuate. And then someone came along and spray painted the number of people in their home too, in their driveway. And it's morbid, but they do that because if the fire burns through and the home is burned to the ground, it can help with rescue efforts to know how many people were inside the home. So either how many people likely perished or how many people do we need to go look for if there's a chance they survived. That was very sobering for this older couple, and they said they changed their mind. And so they called their kids and said, can you help us evacuate? Well, the kids came, and they had a lot of kids, and the kids literally stripped the house. They had time for this. They didn't hold up any rescue efforts or take up firefighters' time doing this. They were a day or two ahead of the actual evacuation order being issued. But so their kids came to help, and they didn't just take essentials. They literally stripped the inside of the house of everything, loaded them in several trailers, and then took off. And this couple is now trying to find all of their stuff. They're not sure. I mean, it's their children, so it's not been stolen. But it ended up in different barns and garages and a big shed that had been used as a horse training facility for a while. And so they don't really know where all of their stuff is right now. And their home is empty. And that's a good reason to have a plan, right? And that was actually this individual. Again, I have permission to share the family story. But when the conversation happened, he said, if we'd been more prepared, if we'd known what we want to grab and what we wouldn't mind leaving, We could have saved so much time and effort, and then have a plan. Okay, where's our stuff going to be taken to? It just, he said we weren't prepared for this whatsoever. And so a little lesson on how, at very least, inconvenient being unprepared for an evacuation can be, even if nothing bad ends up happening to your home, which is the case here. So kind of made me laugh. And then afterwards I thought, man, that would be so disruptive to try. I mean, you got to go track down all of your stuff now and then put it back in the house. Have a plan. We'll be talking about it again. Fire officials will join us to discuss what you can do to be ready, set, go, prepared should there be an evacuation in your neighborhood. We'll be back with more of KVNU's For the People, talk about the future of Lake Powell. Is there one? Well, that's the actual question people are starting to ask as the lake hits another record low this summer. Right after these headlines with KVNU's We'll Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. A 36-year-old Orem man is being held in the Cache County Jail without bail after allegedly grabbing and sexually assaulting an underage girl at the Cache County Fair earlier this month. Now, Ryan Howard Shaw faces second-degree felony forcible sexual abuse and third-degree felony aggravated kidnapping charges in Logan's 1st District Court. Now, Cache County Sheriff's deputies say they responded to the fair on the night of August 5th at about 9:30 on reports of inappropriate touching near one of the fairground rides. Now, the victim had told deputies that Shaw had grabbed her hand, held her by the waist from behind, and then touched her inappropriately before she escaped. Now, our friends corroborated the account. Now, deputies detained Shaw, who had an active arrest warrant and admitted to drinking heavily before entering the fairgrounds. Now, Shaw claimed that he was merely seeking a partner for a two-person ride and only had patted the victim to try and comfort her. Meanwhile, President Dallin H. Oaks of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was in Brazil over the weekend, dedicating the Belo Horizonte Brazil Temple, marking his first international trip as church president. Now, the temple is the church's 12th operating temple in Brazil and 220th worldwide. Brazil is home to over 1.5 million Latter-day Saint members and has 12 additional temples that are either in development or other stages of construction. Now, President Oaks stated during the dedicatory remarks that temple ordinances draw members closer to Jesus Christ and strengthen spiritual fortitude. Now, the dedication comes nearly 1 year into President Oaks' presidency. In his dedicatory prayer, he expressed gratitude for Christ's atonement and also prayed for the temporal and spiritual prosperity for Brazil and its national leaders. And finally, back here in Utah, families of victims who were killed in the Saratoga Springs home shooting back in 2025 released a statement over the weekend expressing gratitude to law enforcement and demanding justice following the arrest of a 16-year-old suspect. Now, the arrest comes over a year after Jessica Lyman and Eli Painter were found fatally shot in their home. Now, police have not released the juvenile suspect's identity. In a statement on Saturday, the Orton and Painter families thanked Saratoga Springs Police, the FBI, and forensic teams for their dedicated investigation. Now, both families expressed hope that the suspect will be held fully accountable without leniency while also trusting the legal process to bring them closure. Now, family members also urged the public to remember Lyman and Painter for their lives and love rather than the tragedy. Now, the families have expressed appreciation for the community support they feel while also requesting privacy as the court proceedings begin. We're going to continue to see sunny skies through the next several days overall, with temperatures today being in the low 90s. Tonight, we'll see overnight temps drop into the low 60s. Then tomorrow, a few more clouds possible that could bring a chance of some isolated thunderstorms in the afternoon, as temperatures Tuesday going to be around the high 80s. Then we'll get back into the low 90s for Wednesday. By the end of the week, mid-90s expected for Friday. And weather this hour brought to you by the Allies Law Firm. Whether you're protecting your family, navigating probate, or facing a difficult divorce, they are your allies. The Allies Law Firm, where they plan, they fight, and you'll win. It's the Allies Law Firm. And I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU Monday afternoon headlines.
ABC News, I'm Chuck Sievertson. It's total control with one issue, says a cabinet secretary, after President Trump at the White House said the U.S. totally controls the Strait of Hormuz.
We control it. We control it with the blockade.
Trump's energy secretary, Chris Wright, in a TV interview, referred to the strait still as a conflict zone where disruptions to ship traffic remain, impeding oil and gas shipments. President Trump ordered reducing U.S. participation in joint U.S.-South Korean military exercises, saying they're costly and cause disrespect to North Korea's leader. Retired four-star Army General Robert Abrams.
North Korea's military is significantly more dangerous today than it was in February of 2019. They have gotten bigger, stronger, and they have more capability.
Two U.S. officials tell ABC News that nothing has changed so far with the joint war games. The death of actress Hayden Panettiere in South Carolina is under investigation, police say. This is ABC News.
With lack of fruit tree production, Logan Extermination can actually trim your fruit trees earlier, giving them the care they need before winter sets in. Proper pruning encourages healthier growth, stronger trees, and a better harvest next year. But one wrong cut can do more harm than good. So leave it to the professionals. Call Logan Extermination today for a free estimate. Prices vary based on your trees and your needs. Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Bringing Wall Street to Main Street. From your local experts in downtown Logan, this is the Adams Wealth Advisors Market Report.
Good afternoon. This is Mitch Green with Adams Wealth Advisors. The halt in stock rallies continued on Monday as geopolitical risks resurfaced. Although the U.S. administration has signaled eagerness to reach an agreement with the Iranian regime, the messaging has changed drastically, and the agreement, technically ending today, may not be renewed. The president went so far as to insist on the waterway becoming a U.S. territory, all while Omani and Iranian leaders are negotiating how the waterway will be managed. The insistence went as far as threatening to bomb Oman if it gets in the way. Nevertheless, the political brinkmanship coming from President Trump is not uncommon. He has historically used many similar tactics in negotiations before. The market may have simply incorporated the possibility that some of the rhetoric is merely posturing and therefore only sent Brent crude oil slightly above $90 per barrel today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average posted a loss of 273 points, falling to 53,460. The Nasdaq declined by 0.32% to 26,645, while the S&P 500 lost half a percentage point, falling to 7,745. The market was largely held up by just a few tech stocks today, as increasing concentration in technology has allowed just a few tech companies to contribute to most of the market's returns. The bond market held up as well. Yields are already at the higher end of their range over the past 5 years, and higher inflation may already be priced in. The five-year U.S. Treasury yield rose 2 basis points to 4.38%. And the 10-year yield rose 3 basis points to 4.73%. Today's economic data showed the manufacturing activity in New York gained significantly more traction than we expected in August, while the housing market generally remained stable. Adams Wealth Advisors will continue to provide you with updates tomorrow. Thank you.
That's your update from Adams Wealth Advisors, guiding your financial future one day at a time. For personalized help planning yours, reach out to us at 435-752-1702. See you soon, Cache Valley. Advisory services offered through Adams Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. For important disclosures and more information, visit adamswealthadvisors.com.
Constantly sneezing, having itchy eyes, or runny nose? It's allergy season. This is Dr. Tyson Brown with Budge Clinic's Allergy and Immunology team. We can help you get the relief you need. Having the only board-certified allergist in the Valley, Budge Allergy Clinic offers allergy testing, allergy shots, and treatment, and much more. Call the clinic and book your appointment today, 435-266-4735. That's 435-266-4735, or search Budge Allergy Clinic for details.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Hello, this is Christy.
Christy Walker, this is Will Feelright. You probably know why I'm calling, don't you?
A little bit. I had a couple deputies call me yesterday.
Yeah. How many years now have you been at the 911 center?
Almost 22.
Wow.
Just about, yeah.
Thank you so much for what you do in our community.
Well, thank you. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. And most of the time, people don't know that they need us until they need us, right? And I love working behind the scenes. I really do.
You're amazing.
The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Lake Powell setting another record low this summer, and it's spawning a bit of a debate. Well, not a bit of a debate, a huge debate, actually, that ties in with recent news over Colorado River water management and the federal government through the Interior Department having to step in after the 7 states involved couldn't, upper and lower basin states couldn't come to an agreement of any kind. And that water management plan, even the Interior Department said that water management plan should be seen as a Band-Aid, that there still needs to be, some long-term plan for how to actually carve out a future of some kind. The Colorado River supplies water to many states and many people in those states. And the water plan that was put out by the Interior Department after years of stalled negotiations, we'll put it this way, 2 different presidents, the Biden administration and the second Trump administration, both administrations, I believe, wanted nothing more than to not step in, to not have the Interior Department and the Bureau of Reclamation have to step in. But 2 deadlines had been blown past, and the states just kept butting heads. You had upper basin states, Utah is one of those, and lower basin states that kind of couldn't come to an agreement on who should cut what out of the water they're taking out of the river. And so, and current guidelines officially expire at the end of this year. So Reclamation said they put out this plan. They said it'll be in place by October 1st. And they stated, the Bureau of Reclamation through the Interior Department statement said, this was not our preference to go this route. We would have preferred to implement a 7-state consensus deal, but it didn't happen after years and years of negotiations. And so the Colorado River, mired in drought now for, really more than 2 decades, but it's really hit its stride and become more evident in the last 4 or 5 years. And so the new plan, Utah State University Center for Colorado River Studies senior researcher Jack Schmidt was asked to weigh in on this by several media organizations. He told the Salt Lake Tribune that the new plan offers a lot of flexibility, but it doesn't address and admits, the new plan admits it doesn't address an even more uncertain future that is likely to be the same, if not drier, in the river basin. And Schmidt said the scary thing about all this is that none of this solves the problem if this area keeps getting drier, if the water available in the Colorado River keeps declining, and the populations of all of these states, the draw from the river keeps increasing. It's an unsustainable model. And, he talks about a lot of different things that we can do, reducing the impact of climate change through our contributions to the warming, reducing our pollution, basically. But also, better water management and conservation and even storage technologies, things like that. And all of this is going to be sort of forced through this conservation plan that Interior Department drew up when the states couldn't. And that's going to mean, so Utah, for example, has 3 to 5 years to hit a certain conservation target, which is about 200,000 acre feet of voluntary water conservation. Now, that's the carrot. Do it voluntarily, we're all good. There is a stick, which basically says if a state doesn't act responsibly in the water that we're aiming to conserve here, which is total about 3 million acre feet of conserved water. That's the goal, to leave 3 million acre feet of water that would normally be drawn, leave it in the river. And so if states don't hit that goal in the next 3 to 5 years, then the Interior Department says what will happen then is the Interior Department will take over management of the water. The Interior Department will actually just start divvying up the water between the 7 states based on projected water availability for that given year. A nightmare scenario. And even Interior, even the Trump officials at the Interior Department said, we don't want to have to do this. They're begging Utah and the 6 other states to get together and do something responsible to come to an agreement. So the Bureau of Reclamation also, in this plan, they had a framework for dealing with the water levels at Lake Powell. Again, Lake Powell hit a record low again this year. And it looks like the same thing is likely going to happen with Lake Mead. In fact, the goal has always been to keep the lake full enough that this is not even a concern, but we're at the point now where regularly for the last 4 to 5 years, there's been concern water levels would drop too low to actually, generate power, which is Glen Canyon Dam and Hoover Dam both are designed with these water weight driven turbines, which means you have to have a certain amount of cubic feet of water above the turbines pressing down on that water. And it turns those turbines and generates a lot of electricity. Getting to the point where Lake Powell, for example, the current low-level release of 6 million acre feet to 5 million acre feet to protect Glen Canyon Dam downstream, they're saying that could actually put Lake Powell below energy-producing levels of water within the next month or two. If the water situation doesn't change. And hydropower generated from Glen Canyon Dam and other dams along the Colorado River storage project, as it's known, also provides electricity for 50 different tribal nations. And Salt Lake Tribune reports that's 42% of the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority's total electric supply. So almost half of their electricity that they consume totally. So a lot of different people are going to be impacted by this. The debate has now turned into, and I don't know where I'm at on this, but the debate has now turned into, so there's a growing movement of people saying, let's just lose Lake Powell. This would solve a lot of the river problems. It is not, the future of the Colorado River doesn't spell likelihood of generating a lot of power anymore through Lake Powell. It's something that, if the area continues to dry, it's just going to be a futile effort to try and keep generating power through the dam. And so let's just lose it. It would improve the health of the river. It would improve water flows. It would also naturally solve a lot of the water divvying up decisions, because more of that water is now going downstream into the lower basin area, and if you're making cuts of water usage in the lower basin area and cuts in the upper basin area, there's a potential that everybody gets to where they need to be, and at the same time the health of the river is improved. It's a logical argument. This would be. I can't even imagine the public backlash to any actual effort to try and lose Lake Powell. It's a huge, still, even at low levels, it's a huge recreational draw, and that's a big part of the economy in that area of the state. What are you going to do about that? Like, what are you going to do to these communities that literally live off of, like some communities in the Bear Lake Valley do, literally live off of the warm weather month tourism, which is the majority of the year in this area. You got to keep that in mind too. A lot longer recreational season around Lake Powell than you get up here in the north. That's a big deal, and you can't just scoff at that and say, "Nah, what are you going to do? But again, it's a logical argument. It would hit the Interior Department's goals with water conservation and the health of the river. It is also true that if things continue to dry, we're not going to be talking much about generating power through Lake Powell anymore. So yeah, there's a growing serious. I mean, this isn't just some whack job environmentalist group out there calling for this. This is actually a discussion that's happening in serious policymaking circles. It's been interesting to watch. I have no predictions on where this goes. If I had to, I would say I would lean towards, we're likely never going to pull that dam down and do away with Lake Powell. Can we be forced at a certain point to have to do that? Maybe. Check it out. I've linked to some of the discussion. And again, none of this there's no policy proposals that exist right now to do this. But the conversation has come from, relatively quiet, very local activist circles to a discussion that's happening in serious policy circles now, included in the conversation over the future of Lake Powell and the Colorado River. It's going to be interesting, folks, one way or another. We'll be back right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Why wait? Why schedule? Ron Keller Tire will get you in and out with new tires quick and easy before heading out on family road trips. Your family's safety is the most important thing. With thousands of new tires in stock, just pull right into an open bay and Ron Keller Tire will have your vehicle ready quickly and efficiently, and your vehicle will be ready to travel wherever the fun awaits. Why wait? Why schedule? Now serving Logan, Preston, Malad, and Tremonton.
Why wait? Ron Keller Tire. Why wait?
This summer, experience clear vision without the daily hassle of glasses or contacts. Whether you're on the trail, at the lake, or just enjoying time outside, LASIK can simplify how you see the world. This is Dr. Karen at Northern Utah Eye Center. We use advanced technology and a personalized approach to help each patient achieve their best possible vision. If you've been thinking about LASIK, now is the time to see if you're a candidate. Call or text 435-752-2020 to schedule your consultation.
You're gonna love what you see.
Hey Utah, have you heard? Nuclear energy might be coming to our state. Now, before your brain jumps straight into sci-fi movies, let's talk about what nuclear actually does. Nuclear technology helps power our nation's submarines, supports life-saving cancer treatments, and produces reliable electricity for millions of homes. That said, nuclear power also comes with a lot of misconceptions. Don't worry, we get it. Energy decisions matter, and Utahns deserve the facts. Learn more about nuclear and what it can mean for you. Visit energy.utah.gov/nuclear.
So, what's the deal with all the bears in populated areas lately here in Utah? The short answer: drought. A lot less vegetation and roots. A big part of the bear's diet, especially this time of year, is digging up roots, and it's pretty dry out there. So, 3 black and brown bears, I think two black, one brown, if I remember right, have been spotted in Provo in Utah County, just in the last week. And then we got our own here in Cache Valley. Video has been going around about this. People laughing at it because this bear takes off with responding police officers and wildlife officials chase through Nibley. This can actually be a serious thing, of course. These are the be big and loud and don't run bears, not the lay down and play dead bears, just so you know. I've run into a few of these on the trail backpacking. Be big and loud, make a lot of noise. They'll usually just say, I want no part of that, and back off. But they can be dangerous, especially if they feel cornered. And it literally was bolting 30 miles an hour through a neighborhood in Nibley. Wildlife officials were able to tranquilize the bear, and it will be transported to a DWR facility for a full medical examination before attempting to relocate the animal. Sadly, one of the bears captured in Provo last week was euthanized due to its age and a prediction that it was likely just going to come back if it was relocated. So keep an eye out, I guess. And again, remember, big, loud, don't run. That's what type of bears these are. These are not play dead bears. Stay safe out there, Cache Valley. Hour 2 of today's show, talk about really cool agrarian programming, hoping to revive the Western